It's that time of the week once again to hear from the listeners, hear what you guys have to say about what exactly is going on. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you want to rant? Do you have a question? That's what this platform and this show is for you every single week. So we're going to get to all of your emails and voicemails. We got a lot to get through tonight. So let's get it all underway right after a word from our sponsor. No bull. It's real. Earn $250 to $1,500 per sale. No selling, no advertising, 100% automated, 100% passive income. Go check out this free 15-minute webinar now. It's at autopilotgigs.com/moneywhiz-webinar. That's autopilotgigs.com/moneywhiz, W-I-Z-webinar.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me. Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my idol. You're going to acknowledge me.
Let's do this, everybody. It is time for the mailbag, and certainly no shortage of content tonight with you guys sending in your voicemails and a lot of emails to get through. So I've got my water, I've got my brain, at least partially here. So I'm ready to do this, and thank you everybody for taking the time to write in and call in. By the way, if you are listening to this for the first time and you're thinking to yourself, damn, I want to get myself involved in this. I want to be able to get my email answered on the air. I want to get my voice on the air. Here's how you do it. Email us, realwwepodcast@gmail.com, and you can also call us at 518-952-0247. That will get you in to the voicemail. It's not a live phone, okay? Nobody answers it. It just goes to voicemail after a few rings. So that's how you get onto the show. That's the number. That's the email. And if you're a first-time listener and you're thinking about it, I'd invite you to join, because it's awesome to hear from our regulars every week. They're the rock, the foundation of this show, but I do love new voices, and I encourage you, if you are listening to this and you want to just chime in, by all means, please do so. All right. Well, I'm not going to do any plugs for ad-free. You guys know where to go with Apple Podcasts and Patreon. So let's jump into the very first email that we got this week. And of course, being a patron of the show, you get priority placement right at the top. And as tradition would warrant, we have Randy the patron, who starts us off. And he says, "Hey Matt, Randy the patron here. So the new NXT 2.0 was actually pretty good in my eyes. Love the fact that Tommaso Ciampa won the title. I'm excited. But anyway, they are saying that the draft is October 1st. I'm so pumped with what they can do with this. Honestly, I think Liv needs a change and should go to Raw. Also, I think they need to call up more people. It'll be exciting to see who. Which person on SmackDown do you want to move? Not asking for a prediction, just your opinion. Maybe they swerve everyone and have the New Day actually split by having Xavier go to SmackDown." Well, I have been, as you know, a big advocate of getting the New Day split at the seams, meaning no Kofi and Xavier together, no Big E and Xavier, no Big E and Kofi. None of that combination of individuals would exist in my world. So if Xavier wants to go to SmackDown, fine. I think he has a very solid singles career ahead of him, as many people do. He showed he can go in the ring many times. He is a proven commodity in the ring. And his match with Bobby Lashley several months ago on Raw, that was in Hell in a Cell, was, I think, one of his breakout performances and eye-opening performances. And he has shown that he can be that single star if need be. And I think, sure, you can have him go to SmackDown. The problem lies with this, that since there are 3 members of the New Day, you'll never be able to split up all of them unless one of them goes to NXT, which is not happening. So if there's 3 guys and 2 places to go, you inevitably have a minimum of two guys on the same brand, which WWE cannot stop themselves from putting the New Day, even in part, back together. And so I would love Xavier on a singles run. We all know where I stand with the New Day. I've been beating this drum for 5+ years now. But as far as who on SmackDown I want to move, who do I want on SmackDown to move? Well, it would be shocking to see Roman Reigns move. I will say that. He is the absolute just cornerstone of that show, and I think Fox would not be happy if Roman was to move. It would feel like SmackDown has been uprooted, and I don't want to feel that way because SmackDown is held in such high regard right now that Roman Reigns leaving SmackDown, I think, would be damaging to the brand itself. That's how important Roman Reigns is to that show right now. And there's no guarantee that on Raw, all of the great creative would follow him there. You're going to be on a 3-hour show with a different creative team. It's got a different vibe. I think you do not move Roman Reigns. Do not. Ever. Roman Reigns belongs on SmackDown. It is becoming his identity. And that's awesome. So much good is coming from Roman on SmackDown. It's a perfect format, perfect timeline, amount of show as far as 2 hours go. But who do I think from SmackDown would go to Raw? I mean, probably Cesaro. I think Cesaro is a good candidate. Kevin Owens is a good candidate. And yeah, I mean, those are two right off the top of my head. But certainly as we get closer to the draft in a couple of weeks, we'll all be speculating. All right. Now, Alexa Bliss. Did you see the fans there starting to like this? Or maybe, like you said, the fact that she's all in? Well, I'll say that the fans reacted much more positively to Alexa than they have in weeks past. And that's a great thing. I'm an Alexa Bliss fan. I did say she's at a crossroads. I still believe she's at a crossroads. But since she's all into this and they've backed off of the hocus pocus stuff, even though she has a doll with her, they're not doing the silliness that they did, especially in the Thunderdome. And I don't know if that's because they can't, because they were in the Thunderdome and having no people there allowed them to just do cinematic crap. But now you have, I think, a message loud and clear sent. Don't do the crap you did with Shayna Baszler. Don't do it. And they stopped it. And it has been few and far between. And so that's good. So, yeah, she's all in. I think she has been missed by the crowd, by the fans in ring. We've seen enough of her extracurricular activities. We've seen enough of her entertainment-y side. I want, and I think the fans want to see her in the freaking ring. She's had what, like 3 matches, maybe, in a year and a half. It feels so sparse. I mean, I think Brock Lesnar's had more matches than she has over the last year and a half. But nonetheless. Okay, so who you got, Nia or Shayna, winning next week? I'm hoping it's Shayna and she breaks her arm and goes crazy. We need crazy Shayna back. Yeah, well, I do think we need crazy Shayna Baszler back. And I certainly want Shayna to win. But I don't know if they'll do it, given the fact that they've really been focusing more on Nia Jax as of late than Shayna Baszler. So I think Nia Jax is probably the one who's going to win this, at least the first time around. And then you have this program leading to Extreme Rules where maybe Shayna Baszler picks up the victory. But I think Nia Jax wins. Or if Shayna wins, it's by disqualification where Nia just brutalizes her. So it's really a loss, even though it's a win for Shayna. That, again, it all is going to lead to the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. That's it for now. Thanks for what you guys do, man. It gets better and better. Best dollar I've ever spent. Thanks. You're making it sound cheap, Randy. I mean, maybe you should up the price. What do you think, right? $1, we're giving you way more than $1's value, but no, we're not going to do that. So thank you, Randy. Thank you. On to our next patron, Miller, who writes in, and he says, "How's it, Matt? Hope you and the listeners are doing well. Miller here from the beautiful South Africa. Just something I've been thinking about a lot recently. WWE changes advertised scheduled matches so easily recently. For example, Randy Orton versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE title was scheduled for Extreme Rules, and the WWE Tag Team titles were supposed to be defended by RK Bro versus Lashley and MVP. So as a fan, if you love RK Bro and bought tickets for Raw, to see that much and then find out it's been taken away, you'd be pretty annoyed. Or if you want to see the WWE title defense at Extreme Rules, make plans to be in attendance and buy a ticket as a customer. You really don't get the product or service you purchased. And in no other sport would the fixture just change on the spot. You won't buy a ticket to watch Manchester United versus Chelsea, and the referee runs onto the pitch to announce this match will now be Manchester United versus some other crap team in a baseball match. The crowd at Stamford Bridge would riot. Even while watching Raw, the advertisements for the tag team title match still showed. What's your opinion on sudden changes in matches? Well, I have noticed this as of recently lately too. And I will say this though, prior to the last several weeks, it hasn't been something WWE was really guilty of. And to Vince McMahon's credit, he has always been of the belief that you don't advertise something you can't deliver. So there must be some serious things going on backstage for Vince to go against the motto that he's had. And to be fair, it has been fairly consistent over the last 20 years with Vince McMahon that I've been watching anyway, that he has very rarely not delivered on what they've teased or promised. And as of late, it's almost like they crammed in 30 years of prior false advertisements into like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. There's some major changes, I think, going on backstage. I think Vince, again, take this with a grain of salt too, but there are reports that Vince McMahon has been kind of forgetting things as of late, and I think Father Time is finally catching up, even with the great and all-powerful Vince McMahon. So you have that. You have Nick Khan, president of WWE, running roughshod. He is big time responsible for a lot of the firings that happened over the last year, the ones that made headlines, the mass exodus from not just talent, but production and everything else. The new NXT brand. I mean, WWE is in a transition right now, and I think there's so many moving parts that I'm going to give them a pass on this because it has not been a consistent offense over a long period of time. It just seems as of late they have been doing this, and it is frustrating. And I feel for the fans who are in attendance saying, wait, what the hell? You know, wait, what are they doing? You know? And at the same time, though, again, I'm going to give them a pass on this. Temporary pass, like a temporary hall pass, right? That's how I'm looking at this. And I think that they need to obviously stop it. I mean, this cannot be an ongoing thing. They need to straighten things out right away and not continue, because obviously it undermines the goodwill with fans and all that kind of thing. And it's just not good for business to advertise something that you are not delivering on. And it creates a mistrust between the company and the fans, the paying customer. So I'm sure that they have exhausted all possible avenues before they decide to just randomly pull something without explanation and then, you know, either not replace it or not explain it, not do anything about it or whatever. So yeah, that's my thought on it. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm giving them a pass given the apparent chaos that's going on backstage and everything else. So, but that doesn't excuse it to continue. So, okay. And Reigns already accepted Lesnar's challenge. So that 1000% means Balor is going to lose at Extreme Rules. So what's the point of the match or the build to this match? Well, I think it's a lot like the rest of Roman Reigns' challengers over the last year, where you knew that they really didn't have a chance of winning, but WWE did their damnedest to make a case that they could. Kevin Owens being one after his 3 or 4 matches with Roman Reigns. Cesaro's another. They did the best they could to make it believable that he could win. And there were some hope spots and things like that. This, though, to your point, is a little bit off the beaten path, because very rarely do you see WWE take 2 steps ahead with a pay-per-view. Now, they didn't announce that Roman Reigns and Lesnar are going to be at Crown Jewel, but where the hell else are they going? And the stars get paid a huge payday in Saudi Arabia to go there. So Lesnar loves his money. Good for him. I would too, if I were in his position, get paid a boatload of money to travel to Saudi Arabia to put on a 15-minute match and go home. And so I have, I have not seen WWE do this very often. So yes, does it mean Balor's going to lose at Extreme Rules? Hell yeah. But what I'd encourage you to do is to try not to look past it and maybe believe that there is a small chance the Demon could beat Roman Reigns. And if it's Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns without the championship, it's possible. It's something that they could do. But my argument against that, as I sit here like a fool and argue with myself, is that Brock Lesnar announced that he's coming for the Universal Championship. It doesn't seem like it's a personal beef with Roman, and he's there and saying, I want Roman in this ring, whether it's for the championship or not. He specifically said he wants the Universal Championship. So, yeah, I mean, guys, look, there's all but a confirmed 100% chance, or 1,000%, as you said, that Finn Balor has no chance of winning that Universal Championship at Extreme Rules. But it'll be a fun match, and it'll be interesting to see if they protect the Demon or not, or if they indeed sacrifice the Demon and his illustrious career, or I guess his illustrious presence and his streak on the main roster at the altar of Roman Reigns. It'll be interesting to see if they sacrifice that. So that's what I would look for, is a great quality match, some believable hope spots, and see how they ultimately deal with the Demon, who is a cherished character among WWE fans, and see how they deal with that against the unstoppable Roman Reigns. I mean, I would look at this via just that lens. I wouldn't look at it through the lens of, oh my God, Finn Balor could win. I wouldn't put it through that lens. Just, if you change your perception of this, it may be more enjoyable. Another thought. Are WWE superstars deaf? I will always think, like with the 6-man tag match with Drew and the Viking Raiders and versus Jinder Mahal and his buddies, if you hear the 3, 2, 1 countdown with the fans cheering it, you know he's setting up for the Claymore. Just get out of the ring, simple. Or Daniel's yes, 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 or Orton smashing the mat with his fists. But I suppose the cheesy, cringeworthy, vomiting, diarrheal 24/7 scenes make it seem more legit. Okay. I'm glad you brought this up. I'm going to try not to rant on this because it's close to rant worthy, but to me, it's part of the presentation. It's part of what you need to turn off in your brain to say, hey, wait, whoa. It's like giving your opponent a heads up. What the hell's going on? And to be totally honest, when Shawn Michaels did his Sweet Chin Music, tuning up the band, that's when I first noticed, why the hell is he doing that? Can't the opponent hear that slamming on the mat, knowing, oh wait, he's about to try to hit me with Sweet Chin Music. Thanks for the heads up, bro. It's like stealing signs in baseball. You know it's going to be a fastball coming, so what do, right? And I understand that, and I do get a little bit frustrated with that too, the 3, 2, 1 countdown. A lot of that is just presentation. It's pro wrestling. You unfortunately, you have to just get past that, because if you don't, it can ruin the moment. And I totally hear you, though. I totally hear you. It is frustrating. And, again, but you look back, and a lot of big stars were guilty of that. Again, Shawn Michaels was a huge example. One of the greatest of all time did it, and nobody batted an eye. So, all right. And Nikki ASH. Yeah, Nikki ASH. I don't even want to hear about Nikki ASH. I'm glad she's not even on the Hulu version anymore. Quick fire questions. I love Jeff Hardy, but he has one of the worst loss records at the moment. How did he even get a title shot? Terrible botch. Yes, I mentioned this on my Raw review with Michael Gross last night in our nearly 2-hour show. I don't understand it. He has won one match, Karrion Kross. He beat Karrion Kross in Karrion Kross's debut, which out of all matches he probably should have lost. And then he suddenly is, just promoted into a title shot opportunity for the United States Championship. It made zero sense. None. And then they have these contender matches, which they have not explained exactly how that works. It's not a number one contenders match. There's just generic contenders matches that is anyone keeping track of? Is anyone keeping track of what these contenders matches are? And if that's the case, if contenders matches are supposed to pre-qualify individuals to get a future opportunity for a championship, then how did Jeff Hardy advance into the United States title picture if he didn't have a contenders match? How does that work? There's no consistency. And it's just, they're trying to put a label on a match to make it feel more important when the actual consequence of what they're saying they're not going to apply. Meaning the contenders match has no real consequence. They're just trying to make it feel exciting that, oh my God, wait, it's a contenders match. If this person wins, then that puts them right in line for a championship opportunity. Well, I would love to have people follow through on that. I want people to follow through. Somebody out there is. I highly doubt it that they're going to do anything with that other than just put a exciting name on a match to make it feel more important. They don't just want regular matches for some reason. All right. And let's see here. I wanted to say, what is going on with the women's division outside of the main titles? It's a mess. Then Nikki ASH wins, but Tamina's music plays, proves my point. When did Natalya and Tamina turn heel? Well, I would say, when do they turn babyface? Because WWE turns them as almost as frequently as the Big Show. And they're the amoeba of the women's tag team division, where WWE will put them in any position they just need them to be at the moment to get whoever over, because they can be both at the same time. And I think that's the point. They haven't firmly established them as one or the other. And so they just are wherever the wind blows, and whatever we need you to be, you're going to be. And that's what I feel. But I think they're going to drop those belts very soon, probably Extreme Rules, to Nikki and to Rhea Ripley. That's my thought. Omos. Super dominant. What criteria must one have to prove you are almighty? If he can destroy 4 superstars like he did on Raw, surely he should be able to do that to Bobby Lashley. Yeah, you would think. I know sometimes it's the logic hurts your brain. I hear you. I don't get it. But Big E, new WWE champion. I don't think I would be as happy about it as I am when it happened. I had a massive smile on my face when the 3 count came. Good on him. Happy for Big E. And a whole new storyline in the landscape for Raw. Only 2 weeks left until Extreme Rules. What stipulation matches do you think will happen? I have one stipulation. First ever WWE podcast pay-per-view Zoom call. Oh, that's right. You did mention that, buddy. You did mention that. A big old Zoom call. Let me ask this. Do we have to have some kind of like premium account for Zoom to do it? Or can it, even if you have a free account, you can still join and or host a meeting? Because believe it or not, I haven't done Zoom a whole lot. For my work, we use other applications, but yeah, like I'm good with that. I think that would be fun, doing an actual video Zoom call and also being on Discord. You can do both. So as far as your question about the Extreme Rules, what stipulation matches do you think will happen? Well, I think we're going to have a lot of no DQ matches, a lot of street fights. What I hope they don't do is like have a stipulation of, this is going to be a tables match, this is going to be a chairs match, this is going to be a ladder match. They do that with TLC sometimes, and then they have a match that's all of them, right? Like TLC, then there's official TLC matches. I hope they don't do that. They need to, I know it's a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules, but if every match has weapons being used, it dilutes the importance of weapons being used. There needs to be about, I think, even a 50-50 split I would take. But I think they're going to have Extreme Rules, meaning no disqualification, no count out, anything's legal for at least like 3-4 matches. That's what I think. I think that's where they're going. Okay, I just want to add, and if it makes it in time for the mailbag, well, it did. I love listening to your Raw review every week, but just wanted to give you a shout out to Michael Gross for his participation joining you this week. Really loved listening to his thoughts and his way of presenting it. Really enjoyed the Raw review this week. Well, thank you. And yes, Michael is just, he's a wrestling encyclopedia, and I will never match his knowledge of historical wrestling. And, while I have my opinions on the current product and his are very similar, I think that we complement each other's styles very nicely, and that's why he's here. I mean, smart guy, knows more about wrestling than I do, which makes you wonder, why the hell am I doing a podcast and he isn't, right? But thanks, Miller, and we will talk to you next week. Okay, let's dive into, I think we do have, let's see here, guys. Let's see. My, oh my. Yes, the prodigal son has returned. DJ Kuzmo, also a supporter of the show on Patreon, is back. So here's what he says. I gotta drink my sip of water here. All right. He says, "Hey Matt and WWE Podcast fam, your resident DJ is back. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again in your Mailbag show. I can almost hear it in my head. I feel like you also called. I think you did leave a voicemail, but I can hear this in my head right now. Let's just get to what I want to talk about. Triple H versus Booker T. I want to piggyback on both the rivalry show and the What If show that you and Anthony DeMarco did on the Triple H versus Booker T blunder of a WrestleMania feud. I had to revisit this match in WrestleMania 19 and the lead up to it just to refresh my memory because I totally forgot this match existed. With that being said, I got to say that creative could have come up with something that had more depth of a storyline instead of just plainly being about racism, and it's a poor excuse that they didn't have enough time to build up a proper storyline. I rewatched a couple of episodes of Raw leading up to their WrestleMania match, and I found that creative could have used some other angles to make this a worthwhile feud. For instance, on one of the episodes of Raw, Booker T's tag partner was Goldust, and he was attacked backstage and electrocuted by the hands of Randy Orton and Batista. Creative could have used this angle to add some depth to the storyline, since Evolution was a dominant faction at the time running rampant on Monday Night Raw, and having Booker T to be the guy to end the reign of Evolution by winning the title at WrestleMania would have made sense. Having a series of matches where Booker T is facing each member of Evolution leading up to WrestleMania 19, kind of like how Chris Jericho had to go through the 5 labors before he faced MJF at AEW All Out for the final time, because in a booking sense, you want to protect the champion. You want your champion ready for the big main event match at a pay-per-view and not have him get pinned in any non-title match and put him at risk. Another instance of a possible angle to the Triple H versus Booker T feud that creative could have used is the World Heavyweight title belt. The title belt was the original WCW World Heavyweight title belt before it was presented by Eric Bischoff to Triple H as the newly christened World Heavyweight title. Booker T could have cut a promo that Triple H always gets opportunities handed to him on a quote-unquote silver platter. And for guys like Booker T, he had to scratch and claw just to get a title opportunity. This would have been the proverbial icing on the cake for Booker T to win the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 19, since the World Heavyweight title was one of the last remains of what was WCW. Booker T should have won the title at WrestleMania 19, and he had the momentum. He had the crowd on his side, and in retrospect, while watching those episodes of Raw, I felt that Booker T could pull it off. In the title match at WrestleMania 19, Booker T put his all into the match and didn't hold back. He was determined to win this match, and to this day, a lot of fans, including myself, felt that Booker T got buried in a sense, that creative was pushing Triple H to the proverbial moon as a top heel in WWE at the time, and in their eyes, didn't view Booker T as a credible babyface to take the strap off Triple H. Plus, creative was looking for a top babyface to challenge Triple H at a WrestleMania pay-per-view. The finish to the Booker T and Triple H title match was controversial in a sense that after one pedigree, Triple H just laid on his back while Triple H put his arm over Booker's shoulder. And if you look closely, it looked like Booker T kicked out at the 3 count when he moved his right hand. It's a shame that Booker T never got a world title match against Triple H, but it's odd that Kevin Nash and Goldberg got several chances against Triple H for the world title. Okay, I'm going to pause. You have more. You have a few more paragraphs here, but I want to just pause for 1 second here. And I want to say, look, any idea, including yours, which are very good, would have been better than going with a racist angle. I mean, even though it's 2003, it's still unacceptable that you would go to that. I mean, like, racism isn't even on my possibility map, my possibility list of things I would use to create heat on a character or use as a framework for a storyline. It's not even on my list of 100 things I could come up with. It's the very last thing you would use, if use at all. There's really no excuse to use it at all. Again, I know 2003, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, it's what, 18 years ago, which is insane. It's the year I graduated high school. My God. But more importantly, this was a just shallow, weak way to present this storyline. It is the most basic, most sophomoric thing you could have done, and it was bad. And it's a WrestleMania. That's what makes it worse. And DJ, you came up with some great ideas, some very simple ideas. How they were presented, and I don't know. Vince McMahon approved this. He's the one that did, and it makes no sense. It's a damn shame. It is a damn shame. So okay, let's continue. Oh, one thing too. You said they kicked out after, or didn't kick out after one pedigree. Now, normally I'd be saying to you, well, it's a finisher. They shouldn't kick out of finishers because it happens too much. But even in the 2003, I think that if you're going to kick out of a finisher, WrestleMania is the time to do it. And the fact that he didn't, I know. That just is the icing on the cake for everything. Okay, let's see. Where did I leave off here? Let's see. Oh, however, if Booker T won the World Heavyweight title that night at WrestleMania 19, I think that he would have held the title for a short period and then Triple H would have regained it, because outside of probably Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle on SmackDown, the hottest heel in WWE that most fans hated at the time was Triple H. Finally, Booker T got a major title opportunity when he won his beloved World Heavyweight title in 2006 on SmackDown when he was King Booker. I understand that not every wrestler will get an opportunity to become a world champion, and that some wrestlers will have successful careers as mid-carders while others will linger in obscurity. My question to close off this email is, why is it that some wrestlers, both men and women, get automatic pushes for major world titles, while for others it takes many months or years to finally achieve that goal? For instance, it took Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Christian, Kofi Kingston just over 10 years to win a major title, while Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, just to name a few, got instant main event pushes. Then, of course, you got those that got an instant main event push and then never got one again. And then you have those that never got a main event push at all. Anyway, that's all I got to say here on the email. Attaches my voicemail recording of AEW All Out, my thoughts on Big E as the new WWE champion, and the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns segment piece. Okay, well, DJ, we will get to your voicemail first when we do the voicemail portion of the show, so hang tight. But look, your question about why some people are automatics for world title pushes while others take years, or in some cases more than a decade, to get that opportunity, that is a really complex question to answer. I don't think there's an easy, very simplistic answer. Even for someone like me that likes to simplify things or sometimes oversimplify things, I can't come up with a single, overarching, paint everyone with one brush reason. I think there are several top reasons. Some of the reasons, among many, many, many of them, are that maybe Vince sees something in someone and feels that if he pulls the trigger now, he could catch lightning in a bottle. And I think he felt that way with Roman Reigns. We all know how that worked out with his babyface run. He was trying for 6 years to make that moment happen, and it never happened until he turned heel in last year. But yeah, for Drew and Bobby and Christian, look, some of those were, like Drew McIntyre, personal choices. Drew McIntyre did not make some good personal choices. He ended up, handling things poorly in WWE. He got fired and came back. It was a grown man when he came back. He left a boy and came back a man. So some of them are self-inflicted wounds. Sometimes a guy or a gal is just not ready for that spot. Again, that's such an open-ended question. I don't have a simple answer because there are so many factors that go into that. So maybe Vince is just talked into it at a creative meeting. Maybe Vince is the only one that sees something. Again, maybe that individual has ties to upper management, or in the case of Charlotte Flair, has a last name that you think perhaps could be the reason that they're just pushed altogether. I mean, again, 100 million reasons, brother. I don't have one or two reasons because there are so many complicating factors. Again, self-inflicted wounds, injury, bad timing, creative, so much. So I hate to cop out on it, but it's a really complex issue. All right. Well, I guess, as I said, DJ, we'll get to your voicemail in just a couple of minutes here. But first, let's finish out those emails. We do have several. So let's get to Wesley Hill. Wesley Hill. Yeah, that's right. And he writes into us and says, "Hey, Matt, I hope you and your family and the listeners are well. I just wanted to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing the WWE show coming to the O2 in London on September 20th. Okay, so you're from the UK. I should have known. I've seen the likely card, and it looks like we'll be getting a good show. Drew versus Jinder in a London street fight. Becky versus... Well, let me ask this. I know I'm nitpicking here. What's the difference between a London street fight and a regular street fight? Does anybody have an answer? Or are they just trying to customize it to the location they're going, right? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just being a jerk. Becky versus Bianca in a SmackDown Women's Championship match. Shinsuke with Rick Boogs versus Apollo in an IC title match. Finn Balor versus Seth. Mysterios versus Ziggler and Rude. KO versus Happy Corbin. Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. What are your thoughts on the above lineup? Well, I think some of these are a bit outdated. I think you're getting kind of you're not getting. Okay, I'll say this. I would see this. This is a good lineup. I especially like Becky versus Bianca. I love Finn Balor versus Seth. Those to me are the ones that really stand out and the ones that I'd love to see. So you're getting some really good, relevant, current programs, but again, Drew versus Jinder is already over. KO versus Corbin is actually still ongoing. Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. I thought that kind of ended, and they're really feuding more with the Usos now, but they're a former enemy, so that's fine. I like it. The bottom line is I like this lineup. Certainly, I do. I do like it. My question is, where the hell is Roman Reigns? That's my question. All right, let's continue on. I was disappointed when they announced Roman. Oh, there we go. Roman would be on Raw on September 20th, so wouldn't be in London. But I'm buzzing to see Seth and hoping we see a surprise appearance from Edge. Yeah. If I just read the rest of the email, I would have answered my own damn question, but that's how I work sometimes. Look, yeah, Roman being on Raw on September 20th, I didn't actually know that. I really didn't know that. Is that a thing, guys? Am I missing something that Roman's going to be on Raw? I didn't hear this. If I did, I missed it. But yeah, as far as Edge goes, I think it's going to be a while before you see Edge, though. The reason is they just played up this injury angle that Seth broke Edge's neck. So that being said, even though he really didn't, obviously just storyline, thank God, is that you're not going to see Edge for a while. They'll eventually get to Edge versus Seth Part 3 in a rubber match. I just don't know when. It could be Survivor Series. It could be all the way at the Royal Rumble. It could all be, hell, it could be all the way to WrestleMania next year. I just don't know what the plan is for that match. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's get to our next one. And thank you, by the way, Wes, for writing in here. It is much appreciated. Dennis. Let's see what Dennis writes in and says. He says, I enjoyed the all-out pay-per-view. It was a fantastic show. The steel cage match was one of the best matches in years. I enjoyed SmackDown from New York this week. I'll be looking forward to seeing Edge versus Rollins 3. If you had to pick 3 talent from Raw to SmackDown and vice versa in the draft, who would it be? For me, it's McIntyre, Ricochet, Morrison to SmackDown, and Nakamura, Bianca Belair, and Alpha Academy to Raw. Yeah, boy, these are tough. These are really tough because I think that you need to make sure that you're not leaving either brand at a disadvantage, which is ironic given that SmackDown is absolutely loaded right now. So there needs to be some big talent from SmackDown coming to Raw, no doubt. But who are those people? Could it be Brock Lesnar? Could Brock Lesnar be the guy? If I was going to pick 3 talent to come to Raw, from Raw to SmackDown, absolutely. McIntyre is number freaking 1. No doubt about that. I do like Ricochet and Morrison as well. And as far as from SmackDown to Raw, I don't know about Alpha Academy. I would say, as far as tag teams go, I like the Alpha Academy on SmackDown right now. I do. I wouldn't mind them coming, but I think Ziggler and Rude need a bit of a refresh and need a change of pace, so I'd put Ziggler and Rude in their place. Bianca Belair, I think easily could come to Monday Night Raw, and Nakamura with Rick Boogs. Yeah, I like it. I do. Okay, Dennis, thank you for writing in this week. It is always good to see your name pop up. Let's see here. I've got Jeff. Okay, Jeff from the Philippines, who normally sends a voicemail in, but wrote in this time and said that this is Jeff from the Philippines. I want to talk about 2 topics today. First is the idea of Adam Cole becoming the general manager for Keith Lee is just straight up nonsense. It won't make Keith Lee look any more relevant because he wasn't booked to look relevant when he returned a few weeks ago. The reality is that Adam Cole is the bigger star than Keith, given that Adam made a name for himself in other known promotions outside of WWE. Making him sacrifice his in-ring work to make Keith Lee feel relevant is a waste of talent. Now he seems happy in AEW reuniting with the Elite. Now, Jeff, I assume you're referring to the news brief that I did about what they were doing, what the plans were for Adam Cole, and it does indeed look like, according to Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer, that they were going to indeed make Adam Cole the manager for Keith Lee, which is just patently ridiculous. It's ridiculous on its face that you would even consider that. Adam Cole is not a manager. I think Vince looked at the size and once again was just mesmerized by how big Keith Lee was and thinking that he needed a manager. Keith Lee doesn't need a manager. He doesn't need anyone to speak for him. He's decent on the mic. He's good in the ring. He's super athletic for his size in the ring. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I already made that case and I agree. Okay. Second is about the rebranding of NXT. On the first episode of 2.0, I just forgot who exactly said it, but I know it's either Tommaso Ciampa or Kyle O'Reilly. So one of them used the term sports entertainment during a promo at the start of the show. I don't recall that term was used before in NXT. I also have no interest in watching the show anymore since they had a mass release on Friday a couple of months ago. Because when I find a wrestler interesting and want to tune into the show, they'll just release him. That takes the energy away. I want to dedicate in watching the show. You're right. I mean, look, everyone knows I don't watch NXT, not because I don't love it, because I don't have time to. But I wish Zach Smith was here to answer this question or respond to this. I don't know if they have indeed used the word sports entertainment or not in the NXT world. I don't know if that's something that they avoided. I can't speak to that. But I understand your concern about watching the product when they'll but they may release talent that you invest time and emotion into and then they're just let go. That's a real consequence of what they're doing that I don't think that WWE is thinking about. So good stuff, Jeff, and hope that we talk soon. All right, let's see what else we have here. And let's get to Terry. Terry from Springfield, Tennessee writes in. Says, I thought Raw was really good this past Monday. Seems like Vince wants to keep up with the competition, But I just have a thought. I think it would be a good idea to put the Hurt Business back together to feud with the New Day since Big E's on Raw. I think that feud could be worthwhile, especially if they include the tag titles in the picture. What are your thoughts? I don't want New Day anywhere near the tag titles. Okay? I don't want New Day to ever say the words tag team titles again. And again, not even just because I can't stand their gimmick. That aside, that's enough for me to say stay away from the championships. But regardless of my personal feelings about them, they have been champions so much that I don't need to see them ever champion again. I'm beyond it. I don't care if they stay away from the tag titles the next 10 years and then they decide, oh, well, just for good old, just for a one night only, let's make New Day tag team champions. And no, I don't want them anywhere near the tag team titles. That said, though, I think putting the Hurt Business back together is difficult. I'm not against. I think like you, I'm assuming, and many others, we're perplexed why they even broke them up in the first place. To do nothing with Shelton and Cedric Alexander. I eventually got it out, guys. They did nothing with them. You were hoping that at least they were going to come up with some kind of plan. They had something set for them. They were going to be tag team titles or champions or something. Nope, they did nothing with them. And I think putting them back together would be difficult because they did so much damage in the breakup that why would we trust that this group wouldn't be broken up again? And furthermore, why would Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin trust Bobby Lashley and MVP again? Why should they? They have no reason to. So it's nice. I like your idea, Terry. It's just very difficult to do. It's really difficult to do, at least in a believable way. But yeah, I don't know why they broke them up in the first place, brother. I don't get it. All right, Terry, thanks so much for the email. And I encourage you to call back next week. Or, well, you could call if you like, but email us next week. And I believe with that email, we can now move to the voicemail portion of the show. And that means that Mr. DJ Kuzmo can kick us off right here. And a bit of a disclaimer, guys, this is a longer voicemail than normal. I tallied it. It's about 8 minutes long, but it's great content from DJ. And certainly he's breaking my 3-minute rule, but that's okay. I'm a nice guy, and I'm just so flimsy when it comes to enforcing my own rules. I'm a coward. And so with that said, DJ, kick us off right here on the Mailbag Show.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is none other than DJ Kuzmo, back at it again on your Mailbag Show. I'm recording live on a Tuesday evening, and it is good to be back. It is good to be back on the Mailbag. I had to take a 2-week hiatus to enjoy the last couple of days of summer, but I am back. And man, oh man, so many things have happened over the past 2 weeks, and I know it's going to be a heck of an interesting fall that we're going to be going into with professional wrestling, WWE, AEW. But tonight, I just want to talk about 3 things. I want to talk about the AEW All Out pay-per-view. I want to also talk about none other than Big E becoming the world champion and my thoughts about it. And then, of course, I want to talk about the segment with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman on SmackDown. But first and foremost, let's talk about the AEW All Out pay-per-view. Okay, first and foremost, I gotta say, this was one of the best pay-per-views that I ever seen, probably for the entire year. I'm putting this right now in my top 5 of best wrestling pay-per-views of 2021. If tomorrow was December 31st, I would put AEW All Out as the number 1 pay-per-view for this year. But the matches, awesome matches. I'm talking about one of the best tag team matches you would ever see. The Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. Oh my goodness, in a steel cage match. The storytelling was beautiful. The blood and the goriness of this match was awesome. And to see none other than Penta and none other than Rey Fenix tear it up, beat the Young Bucks and dethrone them to become the AEW Tag Team Championships. Man, it was a thing of beauty. Shout out to Mimi. I know she was all over this and that she wanted that, she wanted the Lucha Bros to win. I'm happy that the Lucha Bros are the AEW Tag Team Champions. And it was just an awesome match. Also to see CM Punk in his first match in how many years? 7 years, I think it was. Great match. Very slow-paced match. None of that stuff where people are doing those suicidas and jumping off the top ropes. It was an old-school, slow-paced match. Great storytelling between him and Darby Allin. But we all want to talk about the big debuts. I'm talking about baby Adam Cole coming back to rejoin his brethren in the Elite. And, of course, just when everything we thought was over, we all thought that Kenny Omega was going to stand at the top of the show, being the champion that he is, and continue to reign as the AEW champion. Lo and behold, we get the debut of Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, and a.k.a. the American Dragon, is in AEW. And I know this was 2 weeks ago, but I just wanted to share my thoughts about that. Awesome pay-per-view. Big reveals. Ruby Soho getting shot to the moon now as the #1 contender to face Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker. Also great to see her back in professional wrestling and being all elite. So AEW is definitely on a good projectile going into the next couple months. I hope to see where Bray Wyatt goes. I hope to see where Buddy Murphy goes. I even hope to see some interesting storylines now that we have all of these top talents on AEW. But now, I want to talk about what just happened most recently. And of course, I didn't watch Monday Night Raw last night, but I got all of these phone notifications popping on my phone early this morning, and I'm like, wait a minute, is this for real? Is this true? And I'm talking about none other than Big E is our new WWE champion. Now, as much as everybody is thrilled and happy that Big E's champion, I try to be happy. I try to feel, overjoyed and super excited, just like how I felt for Bobby Lashley. But I don't feel that for Big E. No offense to Big E, great wrestler. Of course, the big ending is one of the most crappiest finishers in the WWE today. But man, oh man, do I miss Bobby Lashley as champion. I miss the almighty era. Of course, the Hurt Business, when we had the Hurt Business. But to see that Bobby Lashley is no longer the champion, man, it's sad, man. It's sad. But I wish Big E all the best. I hope to God that his title reign doesn't end up like Kofi Kingston. The Brock Lesnar 9-second pinfall that Kofi Kingston suffered. But now that Big E is the WWE champion, somebody asked me on Twitter. There was a Twitter question out. So is he officially on Monday Night Raw? And why, he's the WWE champion, so does that make him automatically go to Raw? But it kind of makes sense, because if you have, let's say he is the WWE champion and he's still on the SmackDown roster, then who's the major champion on Monday Night Raw? Monday Night Raw wouldn't have any champion, so I would say that Big E is automatically the champion on Monday Night Raw. But overall, the booking for Bobby Lashley these past couple of weeks looked very weak. He got RKO'd a couple of times by Randy Orton. And then Big E made the announcement. I mean, come on. Who makes an announcement that I am going to cash in my Money in the Bank on Monday Night Raw? Well, of course, he's not going to cash it on Damian Priest. He's not going to cash it on RK Bro. I mean, obviously, it's Bobby Lashley, but who in their right mind, as a Money in the Bank holder, who would make that announcement and come on Monday Night Raw and say, Bobby Lashley, you better watch yourself? But overall, this is a great moment for Big E. I hate to see the New Day now back together again. I really wish the draft was this coming week, but it seems like we're going to have a New Day reunion just for maybe another week or two. But other than that, man, it's sad to see Bobby Lashley get the throne like this. hopefully the Almighty will return as the WWE Champion in the near future. But now I want to talk about SmackDown. I want to talk about, of course, the biggest storyline. We're talking about Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Oh, why did you not tell me that he was going to be at SummerSlam? I mean, this whole storyline is just amazing. To see that Paul Heyman is now, he's like trying to figure out who he going to side with. The Bloodline, Roman Reigns and the Usos, or if he's going to go on the side of Brock Lesnar. Obviously, Brock Lesnar has had it with Paul Heyman, and it seems like Roman Reigns seems like he doesn't want nothing to do with Paul Heyman, but somehow he still wants to have him with the Bloodline as the wise man, as the counsel to the tribal chief. But overall, this was a great segment. I hope to see what comes about with this storyline. It's intriguing to see. I know that we now got the return of the Demon with of course Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules. And I want to see what's going to come about next, because we all looking for this big payout between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. But we know that coming up we have the Extreme Rules with Roman Reigns versus the Demon. So that's all I got to say right now. And I am back on the mailbag, so I will be back hopefully next week once again with some more. Peace out. Have a blessed week, and I'll talk to you next time.
DJ, my brother, thank you for that very impassioned and lengthy voicemail covering everything, at least all the big stuff that happened while you were away for a couple of weeks. And it's hard for me to respond to all of it. I mean, I've given my thoughts on pretty much everything that you spoke about. But the one thing I'll say about Big E winning the WWE Championship, and you're wondering if he's on Monday Night Raw, I would say yes. I mean, and I think they'll stick with that because it would make no sense that Raw doesn't have a major champion. But if you're looking at this from a real perspective, a logical perspective, when the draft happens, you don't draft championships. They draft people. They draft stars. They draft the talent. So really, Big E is a part of SmackDown still. Because, yeah, he cashed in on the Monday Night Raw champion, Bobby Lashley, the WWE champion, but he's drafted to SmackDown. They didn't draft the Universal Championship to SmackDown. They didn't draft the WWE Championship itself to Raw. They drafted just the people. And if they happen to be carrying that championship, then so be it. So technically, he should be a part of SmackDown if you're going to be very real about it. They won't go that way because, again, that would leave Raw an even bigger barren wasteland than it already is. So I think that we can expect, certainly, that Big E is a part of Monday Night Raw, which unfortunately means the New Day is back together, which is, I said this last night on my Raw review with Michael Gross, I can hear the celebration of Big E beginning with the New Day and pancakes and cakes and unicorns and balloons and all this garbage. I mean, I can see it already on Monday Night Raw. This is the worst version of Big E we could have possibly imagined becoming WWE champion, at least in my mind. I was excited for Big E as a champion, on his own path, becoming his own guy, finding his own identity outside of a hip-swiveling cartoon character. And unfortunately, we are still living in the hip-swiveling, just gyrating cartoon character as a 40-year-old man. To me, it is the worst possible version of Big E. I'm a fan of Big E. I support Big E, but I don't want this version of Big E as champion. They made zero progress in his character. I'm talking zero progress in his character. And you could say, well, he made progress in the Apollo Crews promos and this promo and that promo. Sure, but they regressed right back. And now that they've regressed, they are right back at square one. He essentially had no singles run because he is the same exact guy that he is now as the one that left. So anyway, that's my thought. Look, if you support him, anyone else supports him as champion, like, God bless you. I mean, everyone loves different things in wrestling. I like Big E as champion, just not this version of Big E as champion. But thank you, DJ, so much for your passionate thoughts, your intelligent thoughts, and all of the contributions you make to this show. Certainly one of our biggest fans, no doubt. And thank you. So, all right, everybody, let's take a quick break for the sponsor of the show. Once again, this is the last break for the sponsor of the show, and then we'll get back to those voicemails. So stay right here. No bull. It's real. Earn $250 to $1,500 per sale. No selling, no advertising, 100% automated, 100% passive income. Go check out this free 15-minute webinar now. It's at autopilotgigs.com/moneywhiz-webinar. That's autopilotgigs.com/moneywhiz, W-I-Z-webinar.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
Okay, welcome back. Let's not wait. Let's get to that next voicemail. This is also a bit of a lengthy one, 5 minutes or so, but we haven't heard from Sharon in quite a while, and I'm excited to see what he has to say tonight, so let's get to it.
Hello, Matt. This is Sharon from Israel. Long time I didn't speak with you, so I hope everything is well. Everything is well with your newborn child. And today I want to talk with you about a brand new subject, the difference between AEW and WWE. Of course, because the return of CM Punk, I had to see AEW. I had to understand what's going on there. And man, I got to say, it's nice to see CM Punk return to action. It's nice to see Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole. But I got to say, it was really tough to me to see them wrestling, to see the show, to see them talking, to see how they're looking. I think maybe because for a lot of years I was educated by the WWE for a certain kind of wrestling, for a certain kind of look. And for me, as a WWE long-time fan, it's really hard for me to see something like that. I remember back days when I tried to see TNA, and it was really hard for me. I mean, right in my physical body, I felt really, really weird to see this kind of wrestling. And I think to myself, if the other wrestling fans are going through the same thing, and this is the same reason why they are staying with WWE, not because they are better from AEW, just because it's a different style. It's the old style that they are used to it. And this is my experience. I got to say, I saw the last All Elite event. I saw that on a twice speed. It was really hard for me to understand that. And this is like the thing, my experience from AEW. I think it's maybe like, if you want to make an example, it's like bananas. My wife really, really likes green bananas. You know, the tough ones, those that look like cucumbers. Me, I like really, really, really ready bananas. The ones that are more like in Israel, we call it ani bananas. And this is like maybe the thing with AEW, WWE. Everyone likes their bananas differently. And I don't know, it was really hard for me. The second thing about the difference between AEW and WWE is trying to understand for a minute, like, with the better show. So for subjective, we both understand, and it is hard to say what is the better show because different opinions, different people. Some people like the 24/7 championship, some people no. So we need to understand about the other reason, and the reason is money versus, who has more money, who has more rating. And I think with that, if AEW want to have more money, if AEW want to have more ratings, it have to be shallow. It have to be more entertainment. This is how most of the people looks like. If they won't do it, they will stay as indie wrestling company. It doesn't matter if they will have Adam Cole, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Tyson Fury, I don't know. But they will still stay in indie wrestling because they don't have enough people and enough money. So WWE, maybe they have less good wrestling, maybe they have less good promos, maybe they have less good wrestlers, but they would still stay the elite company because they still have more money. They still do more social acting, like those things that they do with cancer. So yeah, I really ask you to maybe play the all voicemail. I didn't send voicemail for a long time, and sometimes you play 2 voicemail of people back by back, so instead of this, maybe just play this long voicemail. Thank you so much, Matt. Nice to speak with you. Have a good time. Bye.
Hey, Sharon. Man, it has been quite a while, certainly, and I appreciate the kind words. I hope all is well with you over there, too. And, whatever you may be doing, stay safe, be well. Okay, your comparison AEW and WWE, it is a different taste of a product, isn't it? As you said with your reference of the bananas, your wife likes green bananas, you like the ripe bananas. I have to say, I'm also a ripe kind of guy. I don't know how people eat green bananas. They just don't taste right at all. It's got too much of a greeny taste. That makes sense. Too much of a plant taste to them. It's not good. I do like the ones that have, I don't want brown spots all over it, like it looks like it's rotting, but I like yellow bananas with some slight brown spots on the skin, and then you peel it open and it's like a perfectly ready banana. So yeah, now I'm going to go downstairs in my home and have one because you're making me hungry. But AEW, I hear what you're saying with seeing this talent come over. Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Ruby Soho, Ruby Riott, Adam Cole. I mean, of course, you got other names that people aren't talking about. Big Show. You got Jim Ross that came over. I mean, half the roster, Cody Rhodes, started the damn thing. It is a different product, and that's the point, right? That's the point. They aren't trying to be WWE 2.0 or WWE Light or a spinoff of WWE. And right now, they are the hot hand. They're the cool new kid in town. They're the ones getting all the attention while WWE is sitting back as saying to themselves, like, what is going on? And I understand you're feeling weird about CM Punk going there, and you have to listen to him talk, and maybe you feel that he should be in WWE doing this. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I'm just kind of gathering that you feel that they should be in WWE, and you're a WWE guy and you support them, and that's cool. I understand that. I haven't heard a lot of fans defend WWE over the last couple of years, or even the last couple of weeks or months. People coming to the defense of WWE is few and far between right now, given all the bad press they've had with all the releases, the advertised matches that haven't come to fruition, the really bad creative on Monday Night Raw, among other things. And so it's cool that you're coming to the defense of them. I'm not going to battle you on that. Like that's what WWE hopes the fans do, is stick with them through this kind of trial and tribulation period. And you are. And but I understand what you're saying. It is weird to see them in a different company, a company that they didn't grow up in, a company that they didn't excel in, right? Because this company didn't exist until the last few years. And it does feel a little bit odd, but the fans that are watching AEW are the exact same fans that watched WWE. How do I know that? Well, they're the ones that are still chanting, yes, yes, yes. They're the ones who still know all the words to Cult of Personality. Like, they are the WWE fans that wanted change. And they got the change they wanted through another wrestling company. And they are going to, I think, continue to support AEW in a big, big, big way. I think AEW is going to have a hell of a future ahead of it. But, thank you, Sharon. I do appreciate the comparison. I get it. It is a little weird. But to me, I'd rather see them in this type of environment than a restrictive, very controlled, micromanaged environment that seemingly is WWE. So, and again, I'm a WWE fan. Hell, I created a WWE podcast. This is not the AEW podcast, although we do cover AEW. But I'm a WWE fan for life too, brother. I'm a WWE fan for life. And I know that they have bad press. They do some questionable things and all that kind of stuff. So what, right? Like, it's entertainment. And ultimately, you know, we're going to be there to see what they've got to put out for us. So thanks, brother. And I hope to hear from you next week, or at least in the near future. Don't be a stranger. All right, let's get to the next voicemail.
I'm here. This is Owen, your resident heel, formerly responding to the call out last week from the Crisis. You will all listen in silence until I'm finished. The Crisis. Last week on the Mailbag, I heard you call me out to a match of some kind. I've spent the last few days replaying every single syllable that came from your mouth. I see you are very passionate about wrestling and have a deep pit of ice-cold hatred that has been distorting your way of thinking. Let me show you the light, my friend. You seem to hate the Great Miz for some reason. Maybe it's because you could never get with a woman like Maurice, or maybe it's because his living room is bigger than your mum's house where you still live. I see the Miz as a brilliant and smart heel who adds so much to WWE. Our conflicting views and passion towards the subject, I'm sure, would make for a brilliant war of words that will live on in the history of not only this podcast, but the whole world of sports entertainment. I'm sure this would happen if I was to accept. So, the Crisis, I am formally and finally responding to your call out. I decline. You all thought I was really going to accept that challenge. Well, the Crisis. I know you specifically mentioned your hatred for the Miz. Well, I know somebody who would want to, let's say, discuss the Miz with you and why he is such a good heel. So, the Crisis, if you accept my challenge, I challenge you to a war of words against the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan.
Whoa. All right. Well, we certainly are really covering all the bases here on the show. I mean, now we have promos being cut. We have matches being made on this show. And I think you heard it loud and clear. Who was called out? I'm going to stay neutral in this unless you need me to referee or some other kind of nonpartisan role. So while I am the platform, I am a neutral body. So please keep me out of this. But if need be, I can referee this war of words. I can host it. Let me know. That was certainly the most interesting voicemail that we have gotten on this show in the history of the Mailbag. So, wow. Let's get back to regularly scheduled programming with this voicemail.
Real quickly, Mark Tedford, Tedford, Memphis, Tennessee, the original location of all Mid-South wrestling. And might I add that you actually had the kahunas to talk the truth about this last Monday Night Raw. Been listening, enjoying, short-time listener, only the last couple months, but I have to say, the Michael Gross comments and his knowledge surprises the hell out of me. The old school, no school, or new school, very much enjoyed. Keep on. Rock out with your... Thank you. Hello, Matt. This is Mark from Memphis, Tennessee. I have left a message earlier commending your response on the Monday Night Raw, the kahunas you had for that. But I really am interested in the old school, new school. I want to know what some of these younger people think about some of the older matches that I saw growing up. I think the quality is much better. But I will say, great show. God bless. Great night.
Well, hello, Mark. I believe you are a new caller and a short-time listener, so welcome to the family here. And I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the fact that you're saying that we have the cojones, the cubes, the whatever whatever adjective you want to use. I get what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, I mean, look, I want to make it clear that we don't just say things to be controversial or just to kind of buck the system or to be different. We just call it like it is. We are as honest as we can possibly be. We have no vested interest. We're not connected with WWE. We're not state-run radio. We, are just fans speaking the damn truth about what we feel. And that's, I think, what we pride ourselves on, that we don't have an agenda and we don't try to be something we're not. We don't try to get clicks just to be controversial. And I think that you have acknowledged that, and I appreciate that very much. And I like that you are referencing old school, new school. I will pass that on. I will definitely pass that on to Michael and Mimi, who did the old school versus new school, and say that, hey, we have listeners that want more. Mark, I will ask this, though. Are there specific matches or maybe a time frame in which you would like them to review, right? So if they do an old school versus new school in Mid-South, is there a particular program, a feud, a match, a year, whatever, that you would like them to discuss and compare it obviously to today, which is a much, much, much different product? And I hear what you're saying, that the quality of matches in the old school are better. And of course, everything's subjective, right? You have people growing up now that think everything right now is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Everything is so much better than it ever was. And just because it's new doesn't mean it's better. Unfortunately, we have kind of combined the two words of new to mean improved. New doesn't always mean improved. Unfortunately, we think that new is implied in saying it's also improved, which I think we need to stay away from, at least be careful of in our minds. And I know what you're saying, though, that the old school is a better quality match. I think in terms of actual wrestling, yes, you're right. In terms of actual holds and moves and credibility to the sport, believability to the sport of professional wrestling, I think you are correct. But I'm not trying to do an impromptu old school, new school here, but I will pass that along. And if there's something specific that you want them to review from Mid-South, let me know, and I will pass that along as well. You can either leave a voicemail as you did here, or of course you can email us at realwwepodcast@gmail.com. So Mark from Memphis, Tennessee, thanks for calling in. Thanks for the suggestion, and I appreciate it. Let's get to the next voicemail.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. I made a call already in the middle of the week, but I just got done listening to your Raw review about Big E winning the championship and how you personally don't like it. And I can understand why, because of the fact of the way he's been booked for the last few years ever since him being part of New Day, and I get that. But I view it that ever since he became, and then when he was by himself, he was still doing all the stuff that he's been doing, still acting like a goofball pretty much. But I think, and also he's also said in an interview saying that he's not really going to change, and so that no matter what anyone says, he's still going to be himself. So I mean, it's power to him, I guess. But still, but for me personally, I like what he's doing now. Currently, he has new theme music. He is now the champion. Hopefully, he'll be booked like a champion and not like a goofball too much. But I think this is not going to change. And people have their own opinions, so that's fine. But it feels like to me, it's kind of like the whole Becky Lynch thing. Though I don't like that Becky Lynch is a heel, but I still love Becky herself, and I'm glad that she's a champion. I just gonna have to accept it, but I'll still cheer for her because that's how it kind of feels like to me with the whole Big E situation. I don't know. I think for me personally, I like that he's champion. We'll see what happens with him feuding with whoever heading into the draft. We'll see, but who he's going to feud with, and if he's going to stay on Raw, which I think he will because he's the WWE champion. So yeah. But that's my 2 cents of Big E. I think he's going to have a good run, and his character could be is not great, but he is very popular with the audience, just like Alexa Bliss. I know I'm going all over the place, but that's my 2 cents with Big E, that he's just going to be himself, and that's just what I'll just accept it. So that's my 2 cents of it, but that was it. Thanks for the call. Bye.
Kyle, thanks for calling in and for having a differing opinion. I really mean that. You know, I as much as everyone loves to have people agree with them because it strokes their ego and validates their opinion as if their opinion is now more right than somebody else's. I actually don't, I don't like everyone agreeing with me all the time. I really don't. So Kyle, thank you for an opposing opinion. It really is appreciated, and I understand it. I get it. If you're going to credit Big E with anything, okay, if that's who he really is and he's not going to change, then I guess you got to give him credit for sticking to his guns and not trying to change just for the sake of change and being who he is. That's cool. I get that, and if that's the case, I give him credit, but that's still, for me, on the other side of the aisle, doesn't change a damn thing. I give him credit for that, but that's not going to make me like his character anymore just because he has the conviction to stay with that character because that's who he is. That doesn't help me like him more to support him as a character. It's just not something that I enjoy at all, is this version of him. Even if it is truly him and we're all supposed to just stand up and go, oh my, that's so brave of you to stay, be who you are and not change. It's not me. It's just not my flavor, and it's cool that you like it. Obviously, a lot of other people did, and I know that I'm in the general populace of WWE, of their fans, I'm probably in the minority as well as Michael Gross is. That's cool though. That's what professional wrestling is, guys. It's entertainment. You like this person, I don't. I like somebody and you don't. It's just. That's the way things go. And Kyle, thank you for the opposing opinion. And, it is appreciated. And anybody that wants to come on and have a debate about something, a friendly debate, a civil adult debate, okay, that is certainly welcome on the show too. I hear from people that a lot of times they don't want to hear so many people agree with everything. It's not good radio, right? I know it's not. But I also don't want people to just take another side when they don't truly believe it. But Kyle, thank you so much, and let's keep them rolling.
Hey, Matt, it's Justin from Maryland. Just wanted to get my thoughts on Raw and SmackDown. So, first with the Big E title win, I wasn't really thrilled. Of course, I'm happy for him. He definitely deserves it, but I was kind of turned off when I saw that he tweeted about it, and then he just kept teasing it. So it just didn't really feel special. I like how Bobby Lashley gave some doubt that he would win when he hit the spear. So, but I'm kind of I've been thinking about who would Big E face moving forward, because he's a baby face. So I guess you would have to bring some heels to go against him. The draft is coming up, so he'll definitely have some fresh opponents. Hopefully they keep Drew. They don't have him face Drew. I think you're right about Drew. He should take a break. Don't compete at Extreme Rules and then just go to SmackDown for the draft. I love the whole Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, and Brock Lesnar segments. Roman Reigns, he's definitely looking very confident. I like how he says that he's going to smash his opponents, and he actually goes on his word. he's definitely going to beat the Demon. I don't agree that they should have brought the Demon back for Reigns to lose. I think the Demon is a special character they should have protected, but I mean, I guess they're trying to build Reigns up more, and I love it. So, the Mason T-Bar thing, I think that they are building them to be the next challengers for RK Bro. I don't think they'll win, but they're definitely looking good. I like how they destroy their opponents. They look very aggressive. And that's it, man. I'm looking forward to your responses, and I'll talk to you next week.
Hey, Justin. Hope all is well with you, man. Appreciate the contributions every single week. It's much appreciated, and you bring up some good points. And it seems as if you were about as thrilled with the Big E win as I was, maybe a little bit more. I was very down on it. But, I know people feel he deserves it, and I understand that point. I get it. From the perspective that everyone has viewed him as the muscle of the group, that, we all can't wait until he finally breaks away and does his own thing and see what that looks like. Unfortunately, it looks the exact same as if he's with the New Day. Nothing changes. And his tenure in WWE, you would say, oh, it warrants it. Well, if you're going by tenure, I guess you could say the same thing for Xavier Woods and many other talents. So you're not just going to go by tenure, but I understand, for the argument of people saying he deserves it. And, I'm not against it, just his character I'm against. I can't make that any clearer. But yeah, you're right. Who is Big E going to fight now? He's a babyface. The draft, you hit it on the head, man. The draft is coming up. That means he's going to have a whole fresh set of opponents to work with. And I think perhaps Seth Rollins could be that guy that he works with. I think Seth Rollins and Big E would be a lot of fun. I know that Seth Rollins is still kind of working with Edge. He injured Edge. You would imagine Edge at some point in the next 1 to several months would return, and you'd have the final blow-off rubber match between Edge and Seth Rollins. But in the meantime, if we're waiting on Edge to return, you have Seth Rollins available to work with Big E. I think that's a possibility. But I think in the immediate future, in the next week or two, certainly it's going to be Big E versus Bobby Lashley, and the rematch is going to be at Extreme Rules. I think that's almost a foregone conclusion. But Roman Reigns saying he's going to smash, and he actually does smash his opponents. Yeah, that's great. It makes you really wonder why you hate the guy. He does what he says, but he's so arrogant about it. That's what really turns you off. And he follows through. Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, and the Demon, it's all magic right now. It's all just everything Roman touches is gold. And we have to give WWE creative credit on SmackDown. For all the times that we trash them, and not SmackDown, but just creative team in general, man, when they get it right, sometimes they really get it right. And I don't think they have had one misstep with Roman Reigns in over a year. Since he turned heel in late August of 2020, I don't think they have missed one thing with him. It's amazing the streak that they're on. And your point about Mason T-Bar being built for RK Bro, yeah, they have to build teams for RK Bro to face. And Mason T-Bar, why not? I think they did a decent job of building them up as vicious, even though we don't know what the hell they stand for. They're in generic just face paint and making scary faces like, video game characters. It is what it is. They need to build opponents. And I'm willing to help them along and go along with them building a new star tag team to face RK Bro. Like, let's go, man. Like, I'm ready. It's fine. RK Bro does need dance partners. So good points, Justin. A lot of fun, as always, hearing from you, and I hope to hear from you next week. All right, let's get to the next voicemail.
What's up, WWE Podcast World? This is Randy from Prospect, Connecticut. Now, Matt, why you gotta do my boy Big E like that? My man came out, said he was gonna come out, won the title, and you just hating on him so bad. But in all honesty, not really happy that he won. The way they did it was stupid. I thought for a second that Bobby was actually hurt, but I didn't see them throw any X's up, so I don't know. I'm hoping they don't sit there and have Big E with the whole New Day thing and everything, because I kind of don't want to hear it. But the downfall, like you said, is the fans are freaking loving it. So I don't really know where to go from there. I guess we're gonna have to see what happens. Next thing is my girl Alexa Bliss. I loved what they did. The doll was freaking hilarious, and the way Alexa threw her little rant in there, and the way she talks, she like is fully like on board with this character, and that's what I love about her. Charlotte, you know how I feel about her. Other than that, man, Monday Night Raw wasn't bad, but Biggie again, I'm not really too happy about it. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. That's it for now. I think I might start doing this every week. I kind of like this. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night, WWE Podcast World. Talk to you then, man.
Hey, Randy. Well, hopefully we do hear from you every week. It's nice to hear new voices on the show, and it's much appreciated. So, look, yeah, Raw wasn't bad. And here's the thing. I think we'd be looking at Raw and saying that was actually a really good show if SmackDown wasn't so good. But unfortunately, SmackDown is so good and Raw has been so bad that when Raw actually has a halfway decent show, it doesn't get the credit it deserves, because we look at SmackDown and go, well, SmackDown is just the gold standard. So it's almost like an unfair bar that SmackDown or Raw has to achieve. But WWE did that to themselves. I mean, you put a 3-hour format in there. I think that's one of the biggest culprits. So, yeah, look, I'm not a big fan of Biggie. I've really, that's been the theme throughout the show. I don't want to repeat myself at this point. If you stuck with me through this long in the show, you know how I feel very clearly about Big E, and it's really tough. And the crowd, unfortunately, is supporting him. I want the crowd to boo the hell out of him. It's never going to happen because apparently, for whatever reason, people get mesmerized when they see him in a live format, and they just get on board with the gyrating and the pancakes and all the nonsense and bootios. But I agree with Alexa Bliss, though. Alexa Bliss is killing it right now. It's almost like I shouldn't say killing it, because I think she's not as hot as she was when the Fiend was around, and then even after the Fiend departed, she was still shortly hot, where we were waiting for her to strike, and she would tease that she was going to get in a program, and she never did, and she's hanging out on a make-believe playground and doing hocus-pocus stuff. And I think they did that too long to her, which I think disinterested the fans in thinking, okay, she's just an entertainment segment. She's not actually going to get into a program. Why do I care? And why am I going to get emotionally invested in somebody that's not actually going to perform or wrestle? So, but now she's in her biggest program since turning into this character. And I agree. Her facials, her body language, the way she speaks when she snaps, and you're waiting for her to snap, and she did on Raw. That was really fun. That reverse sunset powerbomb was awesome. I really enjoyed that. And Charlotte Flair, to her credit, is also playing this pretty well, just throwing the doll in the trash, not really playing along, which would make sense. Charlotte's all business. And it makes sense that Charlotte is just dismissing this as nonsensical, childish games. And so she threw the doll in the garbage, and she just said, I don't want your gift. I mean, we all know she took the gift, but it is a Charlotte thing to do and say. So she's also being authentic to herself. So far, so good. So far, so good with these two. And I hope that the match also is as good and kind. I mean, I think it will be. And I'm excited to see Alexa Bliss in an actual wrestling match. That's what I'm looking forward to. Okay, let's continue on, guys. Just a couple more, and then we'll finish out the show.
Hey, Matt. It's Kyle from New York. Can't think of anything to say this week, but I just wanted to get on the mailbag. I'm calling really late though, Wednesday night, so I don't know if I'm gonna make it on this week's mailbag in time, so you might get this next week. But can't think of anything to talk about. So I read 2 rumors, and somehow most of the rumors I've said in this mailbag actually have come true. So I guess I'll say the 2 that I've seen. Well, one of them's kind of like a tease, one of them's also kind of a rumor. Anyway, I guess I'll say the tease first. Supposedly Paige is teasing in-ring return. On Paige's Twitter, she posted a thing, basically. She posted a post on Twitter, all she wrote was just January. She just wrote January. So people were freaking out thinking, oh, maybe she might return the Royal Rumble in January. So do you believe the tease? I kind of believe it, because she has said in the past she's inspired to come back to the ring, like Daniel Bryan, Edge, Christian, like all of them. So I could see it definitely happening. But do you think it will happen, though? Let me know. And The second thing, which is more of a rumor, there's a rumor going around that now Bobby Lashley lost. By the way, Big E winning the WWE Championship. I listened to your Raw review. I'm just as angry as you are. I hate the New Day just as much as you. I can't stand them. Like this team needs to die. It's bad. Anyway, so now Bobby Lashley lost the WWE Championship. Unfortunately, there's a rumor going around that supposedly the Hurt Business might reunite. The reason being is because MVP posted a selfie on a plane sitting next to Shelton Benjamin. So that's sparking some rumors that maybe they'll reunite. And that might be his like post-title plans. I think it'll either be that or maybe he'll have a U.S. title feud. He'll have a U.S. title feud with Damian Priest. I don't know. What do you think? Anyway, my 3 minutes are almost up, so thanks as always. I'll talk to you next time.
Hey, Kyle. Well, thanks for the in-ring return possibility of Paige. I did not actually hear that. I did not hear that she could be returning to the ring, that she just put out there January. And she knows what she's doing. She knows that people are going to speculate she's returning to the ring. And you know what? I hope she does. I did like in-ring Paige. I think and on the microphone, Paige was fun too. You know, I think she had an underwhelming career to no fault of her own due to injury, her neck injury, scary injury. And I think it's possible that she does. I mean, why not? Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not, didn't look at her exact specific prognosis. So if it is indeed similar to Daniel Bryan or Edge, why not? Right? Why not? I would love it. I think that would be a big surprise and a nice injection into the women's division on SmackDown and Raw, honestly. And by that time, of course, the rosters will be shuffled up, so we don't know where she should be placed or not. It's all just speculation at this point. Obviously, it's too many unknowns. But if it is indeed something that she's going to do, and if it's real, yeah, like cool, awesome. The one thing I'd say though is, how do we know it's WWE that she wants to go after? Maybe she's mentioning that her contract is up in January and she's going to go to AEW. Kevin Owens is counting the days. Kevin Owens is counting the minutes and seconds until his contract is done so he can go to AEW. I think Kevin Owens would be a perfect fit there. I think Paige would be as well. An in-ring return for Paige in AEW? Yeah, so perhaps that January statement could mean that's when her contract ends, not when she's returning to in-ring action in WWE. So how about that for some food for thought? Now, again, as far as the Hurt Business returning, I already talked about that earlier in the show. Somebody else brought that up. I doubt it. There's too much repair to do. I know that people are speculating that, she's sitting with Shelton on a plane. Well, they're probably friends in real life. You know, I don't think that that's something that they are going to worry about in starting rumors, although they started anyway. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't mind the Hurt Business getting back together. If they can convince me after everything they did to Shelton Benjamin and to Cedric Alexander that everything's hunky-dory and A-okay and we're all pals again, and they did something that is very convincing, okay, fine, maybe I'd buy it. But right now it's hard for me to believe that they would put them back together. And honestly, I wouldn't trust WWE again. I don't trust them putting groups together ever again, given how badly they've managed them over the last couple of years. I mean, it's bad. Tag teams as well. I could give you a chapter and verse about the tag teams and groups that had so much potential. Iconics. We had Zelina Vega and Austin Theory and Andrade together that went nowhere. Hell, Heavy Machinery never even won a tag team championship. They broke up as soon as Vince found that Otis was funny with his big old bowl of jelly. The Hurt Business, Retribution, Nita go on. It's so, my point is the trust is not there for me to get invested in this group, only for have Vince McMahon change his mind next week and the hell with this, let's break him up. I don't trust him. I don't trust the old man. So, all right. Well, thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody for the contributions, to all the new callers and new emailers. Please feel free to call back and email us again next week. It is much appreciated. Everybody who's listening who wants to get on board, you guys know the contact information. I gave it to you at the very beginning of the show. And please feel free to join us. I'd love to have you, have new voices, have new opinions, new insights, and it's always a fun time. So Everybody, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you next time.